Big guns are held by gigantic, sweaty men as they're hunted and stalked deep in the heart of the jungle by a heat vision loving alien. That's right. This week we are taking on the Arnold Schwarzenegger classic Predator. Well, we ain't got time to bleed, so let's stop wasting time and get to the choppa. We're gonna remake this movie right. Hello, my fellow cinematic architects, and welcome to Remake This Movie Right. We are a member of the Hollywood Outsider Network. Listen to episodes of Remake This Movie Right on iTunes, where reviews are appreciated, nay, required at this point. Really helps the show out. Stitcher Radio gives a thumbs up if you listen there through our RSS feed or your podcast app of choice. Just visit the website at remakethismovieright.com if you choose, whatever way you wish to listen. For this episode of Remake This Movie Right, we are remaking Predator. The Arnold Schwarzenegger big muscle, greasy, sweaty man classic that came out in the 80s and has really been a staple for science fiction action opuses ever since. If at the end of this episode you have your own pitch for this remake that you want to submit, remember, email it to remakethismovieright@gmail.com. That's remakethismovieright@gmail.com. We will read your pitches on our next teaser episode. I am your host, Aaron Peterson, and joining me today are my fellow hosts, Brian Williams.
Hey, buddy, what's up?
Not much. And Justin McCumber.
I'm a damn sexual Tyrannosaurus.
You just been waiting to use that one, have you?
I actually just thought of it as you were saying my name.
Of all the movies I think we have done, Predator is probably my favorite so far. What about where's this one stand for you guys? Just because it's one of those movies that for me still stands up, like to this day still stands up.
When I was kind of going through this movie and thinking about newer actors to put in it and new potential situations and locations, this one was so hard. And for the life of me, I couldn't figure out why I was having so much difficulty putting this together until it just kind of dawned on me that, it still works.
Mm-hmm. This
one is still a fantastic movie that, should we remake it? It's one of the first times where I could honestly say no, because you don't need to. It is great as it is. The actors are all pretty much perfect in their roles. The storyline, as threadbare as it is, works just fine. The special effects are even fine. So I think that's why I was having difficulty coming up with all new things, because it's already great as it is, but I did manage to cobble some stuff together.
I'm sure you did. Well, Brian, what about you? Because Justin thinks we can just wrap this show up.
I was going to say, this is going to be the
shortest
He really is in a hurry, isn't he?
He's like, let's go, guys. I think we're good. Let's just watch the original again.
I think for the most part, I would probably agree with about 80% of that. I think it does hold up very well. Unlike a lot of 80s action movies pretty much 80s movies, period. But yeah, it's the characters are still, they're still strong. It's still very good. Some of the special effects are kind of hokey. There's a scene where the Predator is in his camouflage mode and he's kind of swinging in a horizontal fashion and he just kind of looks like this weird rubbery figure that just kind of floated to the next tree instead of really moving or something. So it was just kind of weird.
Maybe that's how they move. They float.
Yeah. It's just kind of like, I don't know, some floating Gumby or something sitting there.
Floating Gumby. So. All right. Well, if this is your first time listening to Remake This Movie Right, this is a show where we take the original film that has an actual remake in the works, figure out what still clicks and what doesn't, throw a little bit of humor at it, and then determine exactly how Hollywood should remake it. So by the end of each episode, we will have the remake ready to roll for Hollywood execs, and we will present it to you in movie trailer form through the vocal stylings of Wayne Henderson. So, Predator. We are going to tell you how to make this movie right, how to remake this movie right. But before we do that, I kind of want to go over some of the stuff from the original. It came out June 12th, 1987. This movie has been around forever, and everybody knows it. Everybody's seen it that I know. But it only made $59 million in the U.S. I guess in 1987, that's probably like $1 billion, but it didn't seem like it. I always thought like it made a lot more than that. Didn't you guys?
I think this is one of those movies that found most of its audience on VHS.
Mm.
Though
Yeah,
most of those people would try and say, "Oh no, I saw it in theaters."
Liars.
Liars.
Yeah, I think it's kind of funny. Well, of course, however it happened, but the get to the choppa, quote from, which is actually from this movie, is kind of funny because for like the first, I don't know, 10, 15 years this movie was out, I believe the most popular one was, I ain't got time to bleed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like the cool thing to say from the movie. But then for some reason, get to the choppa, it somehow latched on, and that's the most popular quote. Although I don't know if half the people that say it even know which movie it came from, but that's actually the most popular quote now.
I think that spawned off of when Arnold started to become a joke, kind of. Not necessarily a joke, but he started to get a little bit more campy or less relevant, and then I think that kind of became the line to mock him with. That's what it felt like.
Did you guys pick up on the? I mean, I know this was, of course, this is way before the the movies came out, but the fact that they kept mentioning how expendable they were. You're just expendables. You're expendable assets.
Well, I think that's where the title came from. From
is that
Sly.
actually what,
yeah,
like a nod to that? Oh,
I believe
okay.
so. It was like hearkening back to the 80s, the heyday.
Okay.
Well, this movie spawned several sequels, classics, I might add, like Predator 2, where Danny Glover took over for Arnold Schwarzenegger. Logical. I would have loved to have been in that casting room. Arnold's unavailable. Who do we want? Did you guys ever think of Danny Glover? You mean
Yeah, but he said
Murtaugh?
he's too old for this shit.
He did say that a lot. Yeah. So to Danny Glover in the city, that was interesting. And then we had Alien versus Predator 1 and 2. Now the first one I kind of liked. The second one I thought was one of the worst movies I've ever seen. You guys, do they stand? Are these relevant to you, or are you really?
I kind of enjoyed the first one also, and I think I felt like it could have been done better. I know the pyramid scene, the kind of the flashback scene, I really loved, but the kind of the last stand little shot, and the second one, honestly, I don't remember much about it other than the fact that it was too dark. I couldn't tell what was going on. I watched an interview and they said, well, we made it dark to help build the fear and the anticipation and what's going on and that kind of stuff. But it was almost like they just turned off the lights and just ran people through, and you catch little flashes of light, reflections of things. And it was very distracting.
Like they really just ran out of money. We can't afford lights. So
we spent too much money on the camera, so we're going to not use light bulbs.
Well, the thing that for me, what holds Alien versus Predator back is the species in that movie that's neither a predator nor an alien. It's always the human characters that that lower what those movies are and what they could be, because we had to spend so much time with characters that are for the most part just fodder. And what we really want to see, what at least I paid my money for, was to see aliens and predators beat the crap out of each other.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't come for a human drama or a soap opera. I came to see one badass alien fighting another one. And I don't get enough of that. I didn't get enough of it in the first one. I actually kind of like the second one, but it's been so long since I've seen it. I couldn't tell you why. I'd have to rewatch it again. I'd maybe come away hating it this time, but the first one was good, but it could have been so much better if they just didn't have to have people on them.
People ruin everything.
Oh, they suck.
And then we had Predators, which I actually thought was a really cool reintroduction of the franchise. Where they basically dropped them on an alien planet, humans on an alien planet, and the people made sense in this world because they were just dropped in to be prey. And
they were all former criminals or violent offenders. They were people whom predators could hunt.
And we didn't have to feel too bad about it.
Right.
Like, if they kill them, they're kind of good people. Or kind of bad people, sorry. I guess I like criminals. What am I going to do? So that was too bad, because I really thought that one would reignite the franchise, and it didn't take off like people thought. Back to the original, the one we're remaking. John McTiernan directed it. He's kind of a famous 80s director. The movie starred Arnold Schwarzenegger, Carl Weathers, Jesse Ventura, and a ton of other sweaty men just fending off a futuristic predator in the jungle that is hunting them all down. hunted down a little bit of fun trivia from IMDb. You can always go there. Jesse Ventura was so happy to find out from the wardrobe department that his arms were 1 inch bigger than Arnold Schwarzenegger's. So he suggested to Schwarzenegger that they measure arms with the winner getting a bottle of champagne, but apparently Ventura lost because Schwarzenegger had told the wardrobe department to tell Ventura that his arms were bigger. That's fantastic. This is the thing sweaty men do. Oh. This is really cool. According to an interview with McTiernan, the hole in the jungle appearance of the Predator was played by Jean-Claude Van Damme. Did you guys know that? That he was originally cast as the Predator and then quit, apparently? And he was replaced by Kevin Peter Hall, who was 7'2" tall. Is he Chewbacca? Is that Chewbacca?
Harry and the Hendersons.
Oh,
Hendersons, yeah.
Harry and the Hendersons, okay.
No, he is not Chewbacca. That's Peter Mayhew.
Well, there's tall guys that are hidden behind a mask. I don't know. They all look alike to me. The studio would not allow John McTiernan to shoot this film in anamorphic widescreen due to complexities of the optical effects. So as a sly sort of retaliation, the director added an anamorphic version of the film's opening 20th century logo, which looks noticeably stretched on screen. I noticed that when I rewatched it, and I didn't know that until afterward. I'm like, oh, all right, that makes sense. This is my favorite of all the stuff that I saw. The studio's insurance company would not agree to insure the production unless a bodyguard was hired for the actor Sonny Lanham, who played Billy, the Indian.
Uh-huh.
But it wasn't to protect him, it was for the sole purpose of protecting other people from Sonny, because he had a reputation of being a violent and short-tempered actor.
Well, that's who I want, I want to be paired up with.
Oh my God, that was great. What a great little fact. Okay, well, the original. Before we remake our movie, and tell you how to remake.
Who's that guy? That's the guy making sure I don't kick your ass.
Now, imagine how big that guy had to be, because
damn,
Sonny Lanham is a big dude. I mean, he's huge.
It was probably Jet Li.
Yeah, it was a little midget guy, a little Asian guy.
All over him like a spider monkey.
What still works for you guys for this movie? We talked a little bit about it, so I don't want to spend too much more time on it. But when you watch this movie, what for you still makes it so relevant, like we talked about earlier?
The simplicity of it. 90% of this movie is just, these 6 or 7 people out in the jungle. That's just it. You don't really need a whole lot of special effects other than the camo stuff and a few exploding trees and limbs. I think a lot of the shots are pretty tight, pretty up close. So you don't have to destroy a large forested area. You just see smoke and things moving, and you assume, hey, things are getting crazy up in here. So, yeah, it's explode a few squibs and stuff like that, and you've got it.
And the story's no more complex than it has to be.
Right.
They don't throw a lot of uselessness at you. I mean, it's basically guys that need to get from A to B. They get to B and find out it's not what they thought it was, and all of a sudden they're thrown into the shit, as it were. Mm-hmm. So it's a solid movie that does exactly what it needs to do, no more and no less.
See, nowadays they would muck it up a little bit with the lady that they're trying to get out of there. They would make it a little bit of a romantic line.
Oh yeah,
A little subcontext throughout the show. There's nothing with that here. So, hey, we're trying to get this lady out, and that's it.
You know why? So. Because in the real world, if you were being hunted down, you wouldn't have time to develop feelings.
No time for love, Dr. Jones.
No, I want to get out. If you make it, that's great. But if not, I'll be fine.
But really, for me, what works the best in this movie is Arnold. I think of every movie he's done, this may be my favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. I mean, that's over Terminator, and it's over Conan, two of my other favorites. But it is just so quintessentially Arnold in the 80s. Mm-hmm. It's big muscles, big guns, big explosions.
It's one of the first ones you can actually understand what he's saying.
Yeah, I mean, he's not, some complicated character. He's just a meathead with a gun, and he knows how to shoot. So he's just so perfect. It doesn't have the campiness that, something like Commando had, which works in that movie, but for Predator, it's tonally perfect and he's perfect in it.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I think Arnold Schwarzenegger, it's him holding that machine gun in the jungle. That's the image that I always leaps to mind first.
What doesn't work? When it comes to what doesn't work, I watched the movie and I had tons of things that work. I couldn't find anything that I think doesn't hold up. Now, Brian, was it Brian? You talked about the floaty guy? That was Brian. Yeah. I didn't have that. I had no moment where I'm like, man, that doesn't work. Everything to me still holds up.
There was a couple of little, and that's really being just nitpicky. There was another scene that, I guess it's getting late in the day. There's some pretty heavy shadows. It's probably midway through the movie in the last 30, 40% or so anyways. And Schwarzenegger turns around and he's talking to Carl Weathers. And it's relatively dark around everything, but they've got a light shining on Arnold's face. And his face it almost looks like it's just superimposed on somebody else. It doesn't even look real. They did it for obvious reasons. Yeah, that's the focus of the shot, and he's talking. That's where they want you to look. But it just really jumped out because his face is so bright, and everything around him is like dusk.
That's just his own natural glow.
Yeah, he's an angel. That's why.
He apparently is.
He is a butt-kicking angel.
Exactly. And that's
why he had to put on that extra mud to hide from the predator because his face was glowing too much.
Justin, does anything not work for you?
Well, I don't know if I would say that it doesn't work because we just kind of sang the praises of its simplicity. But I think modern day movies, I don't know if the audiences require it or if they expect it, but most movies today are a little more, maybe complicated isn't quite the right word, maybe a little thicker in the story.
Maybe a few more layers.
Yeah, I think there's, there are more layers to some today's films, good and bad. That's, it's not necessarily a great thing to have to add, but, it's a movie that takes place in a different country, but there's really almost next to no kind of geopolitical understanding brought to it. We don't really know who is doing what, and for the original, that's perfect. But I think in a modern day movie, we expect a little more, maybe global awareness in it, maybe a couple layers extra of story.
Okay. I don't have any of those. I love it the way it is. But we did kind of weigh it down in terms of should it even be remade? Now, Justin, you already said you don't really think it should. Is that correct?
I don't think it, not that it should. I don't think it needs to.
Okay. I think go ahead and remake it because I think it's one of those movies where it's old enough to where a lot of people that are under 30 probably have never seen it. So sure, make it for a new generation.
Shame on them.
Yeah, I agree. Shame on you. If you listen to this and you haven't seen it, pause. We'll be right. We'll wait. Go ahead.
Call your parents and ask them why the hell they raised you so poorly.
Grab your Betamax. I'm sure your parents have one and they still have that tape, and then you can throw it in because that's a classic. And on Blu-ray, it looks gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Brian, do you think it should be remade?
I think the potential is there to remake it. Yeah. I don't find it sacred enough to not touch it. I think it's fine the way it is. But again, that's one of those, there are maybe a certain bit of nostalgia and everything going, clouding the glasses a little bit. But I think the elements are there to remake it.
We had our list on a scale of 1 to 5, being 5 being the most classic, 1 being the least classic. How many nostalgic moments does this remake need? Which means how many nods to the original do we need to see in our remake? So things that have to be in the movie we're about to make. We came up with 4 because we think it rates a 4 in the classic scale. Number one has to be in our remake. I ain't got time to bleed. Don't matter who says it. Somebody's got to say, I ain't got time to bleed. Number 2, hero putting mud on them to hide their heat. That seems pretty, I would say that. Number 3, dry shaving with a razor. Because that's how men shave. That's how men shave.
Oh, man, I forgot all about that.
Yeah, got to have that. That's important.
And then he's going to press it into his skin so hard it cuts him, but he don't care.
Because he ain't got time to bleed. All right.
Over here.
And number 4, oh, that's good. I forgot all about over here. Number 4, The Predator unmasking your one ugly mother effer. Gotta have that. Apparently, that whole combination. That's a combination. Apparently, the unmasking and the your one ugly mother effer. Now, if it's a PG-13, I'm sure that there's some way that they can work the wording around because it's Hollywood. So here's the remake. Now let's get to our remake. Here's what we know about the actual remake that is coming out. Shane Black, who starred in the original as Hawkins, he had a really small role as Hawkins. He's actually written the treatment, and he's handing that treatment off to Fred Decker, who he did the Monster Squad with, to finish it and direct it. But I think it's pretty cool that Shane Black, who went on to become an accomplished screenwriter, he wrote Lethal Weapon, Last Boy Scout, Iron Man 3. He's actually going to do the treatment for the movie he was in. For a remake.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Kind of like keeping it in the family.
And John Davis, who helped produce the original, is returning to produce this one. And he calls Shane Black's treatment a soft reboot. I have no idea what that means. But that's really all we know about it. Since Predator is getting a remake, and because no one listens to us, how should they remake it? Now remember, as we go through the story and everything else, each one of us gets one cut. And a cut means that at any point, if we don't like what these other idiots are talking about, we yell cut, and we can change it to whatever we want. So,
Well, I didn't use my cut last time I was on, so do I get to carry that over?
No. You don't carry it over.
Oh, you don't get 2. Is that what he meant? No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No. You're misunderstanding. It starts fresh every episode.
Whatever.
Who's got the first idea? And once again, Justin, one cut. You only get one. Who's got the first idea of how they think this new version of Predator? Let's all pitch our ideas, and we'll see which one sticks the best, and we'll go from there.
Well, my idea was, the first thing you have to think about is location, because as a Predator fight, they've already kind of established that it's got to be a hot environment. And when you look at what's available on Earth in that kind of environment, you've either got your jungles or your deserts. And while moving this to some place like Iraq or Iran or Afghanistan is interesting, and I think there's some possibilities with it, there's not... One of the fun things about Predator was that jungle thickness. It was the verticality that the Predator could take advantage of. And you're really just not going to get that much in a desert environment unless you move it into a town of some sort. And then it becomes an urban fight, which I think is a real big change from the first one. That's what Predator 2 was about.
You could have it in like Israel or Iran, but it's like Tremors. He just goes through like a little wormhole, and that's how he gets all his victims. Just pulls them through the sand.
Right.
No?
So what,
Guess I'll take that as a no since you're just moving forward.
What I decided on was, why don't we do it? If I wanted to make it a modern film, which, as I kind of said earlier, has kind of a multinational feel to it, a global consciousness. And so I thought that it might be interesting, instead of them being like this special forces group that's sent into a jungle to retrieve some politician. Why not, what are the things that we're kind of fighting with today? And one of them is the drug war with Mexico. And so I thought, well, why don't we move it to Mexico? Because there's plenty of room there for jungle fighting, as well as other locations. And so I thought, why don't we make this team like a DEA group, and they're going down there to take out this new kingpin that has established an area to make their drugs and get them across the border. And the person that they have to meet, the Dylan kind of character, is a DEA agent who's down there in deep cover. And so now it's coming up to lead these people in to find out who this kingpin is, because as powerful as they are, no one's ever seen them. No one's ever taken a picture. We have no idea who this is. So, let's move a team in there and try and take it out. So that was kind of my big change, was to move it to a location closer to America, but still be able to make it about something modern audiences are familiar with. And the drug war with Mexico is certainly, I think, something you would figure most people are at least tangentially aware of.
Interesting. Now, would the Predator be the drug lord? Like he's got this giant coke
Oh,
empire?
yeah, that would actually be kind of cool, but no. No,
Where's the drugs? Over here. Over here.
no, one of the things I wanted to do with that was to implant a character with our group, the Anna type character, the woman that they say, not say, but that they find and who kind of tells them about the Predator. I wanted to retain that aspect of the original, but instead of it being this innocent woman that they're trying to take along with them, why don't we make her an antagonist too? And why not make that Kingpin character a woman? And they just mistake her for someone who is working in this drug factory, when in fact she's the Kingpin all along. And so she becomes a source of further antagonism.
Ooh, I like that.
As the movie goes on. I was going to have her played by like Penelope Cruz or someone like that.
One of the 3 Hispanic actresses we're aware of at the time.
And yes. She's beautiful and she's a good actress.
She is. Brian, do you got a pitch of your own, or do you want to build off that one, or you got your own? What do you got?
Yeah, I'm going the other route. I'm going historical.
Oh, they're going to be Vikings?
No, not quite that far back. We're staying. Let's kind of make this maybe a frontier type colonial era. The problem with the desert and stuff, I agree with you. That was one of the things I was thinking about, was what location is a huge part of this story. Mm-hmm. And to a lot of the same points Justin made, the problem with the desert stuff is where you're going to really hide. I mean, there's just.
I told you where. Wormholes.
What wormholes? Okay, fair enough. Maybe we can work that in somehow.
I want a Kevin Bacon cameo.
So I'm thinking like maybe you've got a hunter, trapper, frontiersman type guy who leaves the colony for something or another. Maybe he's going on some sort of thing to go trade with some of the Native Americans that are close by. I don't know. There's some reason for him to kind of leave. All of a sudden it's almost like a one-on-one thing instead of a group of guys. And maybe, I don't know, maybe he can have 2 or 3 with him or something, but not as many as like the 6 or so. Mm-hmm. And it's maybe the Predator's his technology stuff is turned down a little bit, maybe not quite as advanced as it was in this one. Mm-hmm. And then maybe kind of spin it to be the cause of like the Roanoke colony that nobody knows how they disappeared. They just disappeared mysteriously. Maybe kind of, make them the Predators, the cause of their disappearance.
It's like Cowboys and Aliens? Huh? It's like Cowboys and Aliens, but with historical data?
I never finished that movie, so I don't know. I fell asleep like 3 times watching it. I said, okay, that's enough.
That's interesting.
So yeah. I mean, it's a little bit different. Like say you can still do that. You can still use the elements of like the heat, the mud, hiding in the trees. It's just a, different location. You can still use primitive weapons versus his higher technology. And of course there's no way to explain maybe even, the camouflage stuff, how they don't know the term camouflage.
All right. That's interesting. Mine is a little bit. I like how we all are coming at this from a different angle. That's cool. Now we'll just have to decide who goes forward. Mine has to do with, it's kind of topical, but not so much. We take real hunters, like big game hunters, and we put them in a region that has both mountainous and I wouldn't say jungle, because you're not going to find a jungle next to many mountains, but woodsy / mountainous region where you have plenty of coverage, but you also have other environments that are more than just trees and creeks. You know what I mean? So if you have a mountainous region, you have other elevations and you have different terrain, which is really what I'm looking for. Just different elements to the same kind of story. And then they're tracking down, it's a bunch of rich SOBs who think they're Billy Badasses, kind of like, Mr. Cecil guy. And then you've also got their guides who are really tough guys. These guys that actually know how to hunt, and they're there to make the rich SOBs actually feel like they're real hunters. And then you've got the one leader who is the real Billy Badass, the Arnold Schwarzenegger style character, who is the actual, he leads the entire group, but he's the one guy that can get them all out of this. And they've kind of been brought out to this region that has this jungle or woodsy environment, mountainous environment. And they've been told that they are hunting the world's deadliest prey. They don't know what it is until they get there. Because there's been, for whatever reason, the rich SOBs have identified that there is something living out there. And they have found that many hunters have gone missing trying to track it. So they're going after whatever this is. And it basically becomes the hunters slowly becoming the prey. And they are well aware that there's something there, but they can't find it. And while the predator picks them off one by one. That was kind of my idea. Then you get a mix of social commentary, because you get a little bit of the, what's going on now, where people are treading into areas they shouldn't be treading and hunting things they shouldn't be hunting. And you also have the same macho, manly, studly quotient that you have to have, whatever the word is.
Quotient.
Thank you. I'm tired. And you can kind of mix it all in there.
Yeah, you could do like maybe an eastern, southeastern Africa, where you've got Saharan. You've got like plains, you've got mountains, you've got some jungle. Depending on where you're at, you've got jungle. You've got coast. You've got all kinds of different environments there. So that's not a bad idea.
So how do we take the best elements of everybody's pitch and make one good movie? What do you think?
How about frontier drug dealing Mexicans on a hunting trip in Africa?
So we're not going for sense of any kind.
Not in Brian's world. No, not in Brian's world.
Just kidding. Interesting quandary. Most times we kind of have a couple people that have very similar thoughts, and it's easier to kind of,
we all want to see like our
railroad the third person.
We all want to see our own kind of like a little Predator movie. How do we merge the two? We could add that there is, if you went the south, like Brian suggested, you take the South African.
I'll tell you what, I've got an. How about we use yours as the base? If either way we go with one of yours, mine's not going to fit. So we can, for the most part, rule that out, I think.
Okay.
We take yours, we use Justin's drug cartel, warlord, lady, badass, mean girl.
Because
on the hunting trip with these others.
Because if you're in Africa, I'm sure there's got to be cartels there too, right? I would assume.
There's cartels, poachers, there's all kinds of pirates.
Pirates. Or you could do it in Mexico. So then, there is some mountainous regions in Mexico too.
Put the hunting group in Mexico who comes across the drug cartel.
Ooh, how would you mesh the two? Then we make one big action opus. Yeah, you do have where they have like an ambush in the original movie, so that kind of is an homage to that, where they do take out that village. So it'd be very similar if they were trying to take out a cartel.
Well, I'm trying to think of ways that you could blend them together, and they're, all three of these ideas are so divergent in their goals. Yeah, and Allegiant. They're just so different from each other. I'm having a hard time seeing a way to put them
a common denominator that would
kind of be able to blend, a center around which both ideas could coalesce. And I think all the ideas have merit. I think the only thing I would say is that for me, when it comes to these kinds of remakes, I always want to retain the core aspect of the story and the characters. And for me, one of the core things about Predator was this group of people who were there to do a job, who had worked together for God knows how many years. And so that military aspect is what still appeals to me about that first film. And so the idea of retaining that military group family bond kind of thing is what I would want to hold to the most. And hence why I went with like a DEA kind of group instead of making it, I think it was Delta Force is what they were a part of in the first
All right,
film.
let me throw this at you then. Let's flip that script, so to speak. Let's have your DEA, they come across a group of poaching rich snobs mixed in with some testosterone, steroid shooting meatheads. And they get a little antsy towards the DEA people. The macho back and forth stuff goes on, and then the DEA guys take them out. One of these hunters, poachers, whatever we want to make them, she turns out to be the drug lord that they've been searching for. They just have no idea that it's her.
That could work. I mean, say if she were out with a couple of her men hunting something, going to get something, and this team of agents comes across them, there could be this complete and total misunderstanding that who they found, are hunters, because that's what the woman in charge, that's the story she's giving, only to find out later on in the film that she's, because see, one of the ideas that I'd had was that as this DEA group is heading toward where they believe this kingpin's hacienda to be, they suddenly hear these explosions and the gunfire, all sorts of combat going on. It takes them, 10 minutes or whatever to hoof it through the jungle to where they're at. And then they find this huge plantation style house, just walls broken, blackened, or smoke burning. And they find all these dead people, guards that with their guns. And then they find Penelope Cruz, who looks like she's just some innocent woman who's been working there because her clothing is all torn and she's disheveled. And as they try and piece together what happened, of course they don't understand it, but they realize that now their job is basically over with after they collect some hard drives and whatnot. Penelope Cruz tries to guide them toward an area that she says is safety for them, but really she knows it's where like a guard shack or something is at, so she can hopefully turn the tables. What if, though, that she, when they discover her and say a couple of her guys out with rifles as hunters would have, as they're trying to figure out what the situation is, maybe they hear all those explosions and gunfire and the agents take off in that direction, and they are followed by maybe her and her men or what have you.
Okay, I got an idea. We can merge this. You've got your DEA agents, they're in the same region. So I want to go with Brian and say South Africa, because maybe this your drug kingpin is hiding. So the DEA agent has tracked her down to this remote area in this prime forest / mountainous region. Mm-hmm. The DEA agents are closing in, and they hear people screaming and dying, but they're obviously a mile or so out. So they're all running, trucking, trying to get there because they think there's some kind of ambush. When they get there, all they find is the one woman who's your drug kingpin, your Penelope Cruz-ish character, and also a small mix of rich SOBs and big-ass tough guide types that are both there. They both end up thinking that it's the other group. She acts innocent, confused, bewildered, even though she's really the only one that knows that it's actually something else. Something else killed all of these people and left her because she's a woman or something along those lines. So she's trying to manipulate her way out of this situation. So she basically acts like she's an innocent bystander. And then they both groups have to team up together, even though they're both suspicious of the other ones. And then you end up slowly but surely, they start to find out that there's something else out in this area, hunting them all down.
Well, that could work.
That's a great idea.
Okay, now one thing we need to address, do we have one predator or many? Because it's been like an up and down with this film / series, is that, the first movie, it was just the one. And then the consecutive movies, they all had more than one. So what do you guys think about that? Do you think we should have should we have like an army of predators, or just keep it to one and keep it simple?
I would say the bigger the group of humans, the more predators.
I think that one of the things that I also loved about the original Predator is that even though Arnold had a team, he started losing members of that team fairly quickly. And what that showed is just how badass the Predator was. That this one creature, for lack of a better word, was able to take on and take out so many trained military guys that had to be one badass dude in the jungle. And by the time you get to the end of it, it's just a one-on-one fight where the Predator's lost his weapons, Arnold's lost his, and it's really kind of mano a mano, save for some of the traps Arnold's character makes. I love just one. I think that's what made the first Alien movie work so well. For the second Alien, of course, Aliens, they added an entire army of aliens, and that was great for a sequel. But with Predators, they're so smart, so capable, and so technologically advanced that to have more than one, for even, I would say, up to 15, 20 guys, seems like a stretch, because he is so much stronger, faster, and better equipped. He should be able to take on entire groups of humans with very little difficulty. And I think that just shows how badass he is. I don't think with Predators, it's always the more the merrier.
I'm with you. And we got a thing where if two or more hosts agree, we go with it. I'm with Justin on that one. I think one is the way to go for the exact same reasons. It elevates that level of, wow, he is really badass. As opposed to where you got 30 of them. Well, yeah, they better win. There's 30 of them. And that's something I thought was really cool. Because I think when you watch that Predators movie, which is a cool concept, once you realize that there's several of them, it doesn't feel fair anymore, I guess, in a way. Now, how many people are getting out of this thing alive? Justin, I got to ask, do you want your drug cartel leader, your Penelope Cruz, to live?
Oh, no.
She's got to die?
She's got to go. I think, 2, maybe 3 people survive, but I think really 2.
I'm on the fence with that, because I would like the way the movie flows to make you almost forget that there's a drug kingpin. And then, and she's so good at downplaying everything that she makes the audience forget. Of course, the big twist at the end of is, whatever, some reveal that she's actually the worst person on in the planet, and she actually gets away.
Oh, I like that. That's
you
evil.
You just do everything to make her appear delicate, vulnerable. She needs protecting from all this beefcake around her. All these people are here to do, and they're giving even the good guys are giving their lives for her. I mean, it's, she even looks, whenever they find her, she looks like just a tattered waif little girl or whatever, she just looks completely helpless, and we've got to get this girl out of her.
We as the audience, obviously we know because we're making the movie, we're writing it. But we as the audience wouldn't know that she's actually the cartel leader until the very end.
Right.
I like that. I actually like that a lot.
We're so focused on the action and the Predator and who's dying and how they're dying and body parts flying and explosions and blah, all that stuff. You forget that these people are actually here on a mission to find this person. And maybe they think she's not quite where they're at. Maybe they think she's elsewhere, the next county over or something, whatever,
Well, now that y'all have talked a little bit more, what if instead of it being a drug enforcement agency type group, if we want to stick with the hunters, why not instead make them some kind of anti-hunting Greenpeace kind of offshoot? Maybe it's a group of people who know that these big game hunters are out there poaching animals illegally.
See, I don't know, because then all I see are
I don't see tough, big, muscular, strapping dudes in the Greenpeace effort.
What I envision is somebody throwing 3 people out there that with ridiculously fake Southern accents who are just making ridiculously stereotype, however well earned, of some Southern redneck hunter, basically.
Here, I'll end it. I'll call a cut. We'll stick with the original plan that we were doing. There we go. Boom. Done. Now we can move forward. I do like that idea, but here's the thing. If you're going to have like a big strapping manly hero, there's a potential for a franchise here. Do we want to, where we think he gives his life heroically to save this evil sadistic cartel leader, basically that there's a chance he survives, or we don't want to. He just blows to bits with the predator, so there's no chance he makes it out of this alive.
Ooh, that's a very good question.
It's Hollywood. We got to think franchise. I think you got.
Well, I've got an idea for franchise, but in regards to the hero, he dies valiantly.
I mean, what if we actually turn the Kingpin character by the end of it? The franchise is around her. Just because she's an antagonist doesn't mean that you can't still wrap a franchise around a person like that. Were you saying that the Kingpin? What happens with her at the end of the movie?
At the end of the movie, who we perceive to be the big strapping hero ends up sacrificing their life basically to save her, and then realize at the last minute, through our Kaiser Soze magic, that she's actually the one that they were all tracking to begin with. She's actually been orchestrating, basically they've been giving their lives for the bad guy, for a different version of a predator, so to speak. And then, dies valiantly killing the predator. And so our cartel leader actually walks out. Your cartel leader actually walks out of it.
Okay, because for some reason I had this weird thing where I thought you guys said she got the predator's ship.
No.
And took off. And while...
I mean, she could, I guess. That seems like where'd she learn to pilot that? She like Will Smith all of a sudden?
I'm thinking like whatever helicopter, Jeep ride, whatever mode of transportation gets her out of the crap. What I was saying, Justin, is you play her role down the whole time. From the moment we meet her, she looks defenseless. She looks vulnerable. The carnal basic instinct of these big men is to protect her and make sure she gets out alive if nobody else does. If you see her making a phone call, whether she gets out of the Jeep, she's a mess, she's bloody, she's dirty, and then she walks into this multi-gazillion dollar jet, whatever, all these signs that it's obviously this chick is the one that was, whatever. Some guy holds up a case with a buttload of cocaine or something, whatever the case is. We have some signal that says, oh my God, she's the whole.
I don't like it.
Guy.
I don't like it quite as obvious. I prefer a much more subdued approach.
Well, I'm just right. I'm just saying. I prefer subtlety too. I like subtle.
Here's what I would like. If she's like a Hispanic cartel, she, I realize she's in hiding, so she's not in Mexico, but so she could be someone of ethnicity, but doesn't have an accent until the very end when our valiant hero's laying on the ground dying after he's just killed the predator in his last breaths, and she shows her true accent. I think that would be enough to convey to the audience, like, oh shit, the whole time. That's I like subtle. I'm a big fan of subtle.
Or she could just make a reveal at as he's dying.
A monologue?
Just really quick, say, and just to think, the person you were hunting this whole time, and then just kind of walks away. But no, when I thought you said she got the ship, one of the things that struck me is, wouldn't it be interesting if this person who is so ruthless and calculating, what if she was able to get her hands not on the ship per se, but on maybe get into it and perhaps some of his weapons?
Oh, like you see her at the very end
like at the very end, she picks up like one of those particle cannons. And it moves, and she just kind of gets this smile on her face.
Oh, I like it.
And then cut the credits or something.
I like it. And then if they did go to a sequel, she could still be part of it. She's our.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
I mean,
I like that. Yeah, I'm a fan. She ends up being the evil witch, Wicked Witch of the West.
Our only savior.
Yeah, she could be the apex predator. All these other guys, sure, they're tough and everything, but it takes smarts too.
The apex predator. Look at you. The apex predator.
Well, and just think about it. Say that the start of the second movie, you see this female predator running and jumping and shooting and blah, blah, blah. And then when you finally get to the end of it, she takes the mask off and it's her. And maybe she's just had her hair done in braids, or maybe those things are a part of the helmet. And this whole time you thought she was a predator. I'm just saying there are potentials for where that could lead into the future. Oof. But that's for a different movie.
That's right. I think we got our movie, though. Up until we got it all the way to the end. I mean, we got some crazy dreadlock lady for a sequel, but we can talk about that in a minute.
Well, that's her. I mean, she's
Obviously.
Yeah, when do we talk about the franchise part of it?
Well, we've already narrowed a cast. We actually decided to do this off air just because it saves you guys a lot of fumbling that you don't want to listen to. So here's our movie. We told you what the movie's about. The EA agent mixed with a bunch of hunters that merge in, end up with this sadistic wench of a cartel runner. Well, the cartel leader, we decided, is going to be played by, like Justin suggested, Penelope Cruz. Some of you might be like, well, is that the only Hispanic actress you know? No, but she's really good, so why not? Our hero is going to be Anson Mount. If you've never seen Hell on Wheels, well, A, you should correct that. I feel really bad for you. It's a great show. But B, he is a macho man that can basically he can play heart, he can play action, he can play a lot of different things. So he's going to be our hero. You know, Justin, you had a good point about how heroes today have changed. You want to share that with these guys in terms of like the big giant muscle heads from the 80s?
Well, I was just saying that, back in the 80s when Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone were our big action heroes, these movies had to be filled with guys that just came straight out of the gym, steroids leaking out of whatever injection point. The bigger they came, the better. But, modern audiences don't really need their action hero to be 200-300 pounds of walking muscle. Sure, it can be great when you've got the right actor, but that's the rarity. Most of your action heroes these days, if you're talking about Matt Damon or so many others, who played in the fourth one,
Jeremy
Renner.
Mm-hmm.
They're not big dudes, but they're big enough to be believable in the fight moves that they pull off and with the weapons they use. So this movie doesn't have to be filled with extras from the WWE.
All on board. So here is the cavalcade of actors we came up with. Are y'all ready for this? Dun, dun, dun.
Y'all ready for this?
Sullivan Stapleton. No idea who it is, but Brian's a big fan. Brian, who is this guy?
All right, look, granted the movie is very bad, but the second 300 movie, he was the lead.
It's not very
actor
bad. I rather enjoyed it.
That's because
It's
Eva,
all right.
whatever her name is, naked a lot.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, he's that guy. Then we've got Idris Elba, Ron Perlman. This is our dream cast. Ron Perlman, Scott Conn, Jackie Earle Haley, and we're going to have our South African, contact / interpreter / guide, whatever.
Yeah.
Shartel Copley. Fits perfect because he's South African.
And he's badass.
And he's badass. So bam, there, we finally did it. We have concocted our film, but who will direct it, gentlemen? Who's your ultimate pick for director? Anybody got?
Hey, I'm going to go with the recent trend here of bringing everybody back. Can we do John McTiernan, or is he dead?
No, you're gonna have him direct his own remake.
What's his name? Did Mad Max? Why not?
Oh, George. Yeah, that's actually an interesting point.
Yeah, George Miller.
Mm.
Shane Black is actually who was in and assisted with the first one.
Mm-hmm.
He's back on board for this one, so why not?
One name that kind of instantly jumped to mind was Chad Stahelski.
Who?
John Wick.
Ooh.
Probably my favorite action movie currently
Done.
running today.
I'm on Justin's side. I'm taking that. Yep. I'm jumping on his side. Sorry, man.
Yep.
That sounds cool.
All right.
Mostly
with
because
you.
John McTiernan, that movie was made like 30 years ago, and what is he, like 112 now? I worry about him. But John Wick was fast moving. It was all about the action, which this movie needs to be. And it did have, the dog. It was sad. So there's a little bit of heart there. I like that.
the dog.
Oh, tears. Dogs over people. All the
Damn
time.
Russians! Should have nuked them all when we had the chance.
Well, let's do our final pitch. Let's hear Wayne Henderson's interpretation of whatever nonsense we just came up with. Wayne Henderson, he can be found at mediavoiceovers.com. I want to hear our movie in trailer form.
Deep in the South African jungle, two worlds are about to collide with a hunter not of this planet. Hunting a Mexican drug lord on the lam, a team of DEA agents toss jurisdiction and extradition treaties to the wind on their quest to bring the unseen prisoner home. Upon arriving at the scene of a massacre, our team finds only an innocent woman sparred from the carnage and a group of big game hunters clearly over their heads. Neither group trusts the other, but concerns are tossed aside once it becomes clear they are not alone in the jungle. As our collection of slack-jawed misfits are dispatched one by one, it becomes apparent our hunters have become the hunted. Survival of the fittest is now the name of the game, and someone or something is changing the rules. John Wick's Chad Stahelski reimagines Arnold Schwarzenegger's classic for a new audience. Join team members Anson Mount, Sullivan Stapleton, Idris Elba, Ron Perlman, Scott Kahn, Jackie Earl Haley, Charlotte Copley, and Penelope Cruz as they risk life and limb in a race to get to the choppa alive. You ain't got time to bleed, so get over here and witness a modern retelling of the 80s classic, Predator.
Nice job, Wayne. Great job. He does
Bravo.
so well at those. I wish I had that job. What do you guys want to talk franchise? Brian, you had an idea?
Of course, everything is focused on this grouping and all that other stuff. We've determined that the villain in this ends up getting away. And I haven't thought about all the details, which is, par for the course with me. Mm-hmm. But we find out in some shape, form, or fashion that this is almost like a tournament, a way that somebody, something, somewhere is saying, all right, this is the person that came out of this. Let's take them out, and then we'll put them in some other environment against others. And it's almost like some sort of...
It's like the Hunger Games?
Contest of champions type. Yeah, in an environment. Yeah, in a way, I guess. I mean, but there's not just randomly picked. It's almost like...
Like the winner gets placed in a grouping of...
In a much deadlier grouping. Yeah.
I like...
So then you could introduce other things. And this is where we can get into the Predator versus Alien stuff that everybody's going to be clamoring for.
I have no interest in that again, but go ahead.
But all of a sudden, you've got this person that is a super badass and I guess almost like Mortal Kombat in a way, except Mortal Kombat meets Hunger Games. They're just all thrown in together instead of fighting one-on-one. They're thrown into this mix, and you've got maybe an alien, you've got whatever other creatures they want to concoct.
Well, since we had our villainess survive the first film, and people seem to like the idea of having her end up like on the Predator ship and maybe picking up a weapon or something, I'd like to see this character continue forward. She was a woman of means and great intelligence. I think if she were to find something like this Predator ship and knowing what little she was able to glean through the combat, with her money, she would see this as maybe a potential opportunity to find some new way to earn her millions. And so she hires some of these scientists to come into it and figure out how she can make a profit off of it. And it would make sense that the Predators would have they would have created specialty drugs for, say, pain killing or regeneration. And somehow, some way she is able to not only make a profit off of this ship, but she also maybe learns about maybe a way to send a signal that brings another team of Predators down, and she tries to turn the tables on them, and who knows?
Basically, she turns into the old guy from Jurassic Park, and she turns Predator Park. Is that what she turns it into? A big.
She has a nice.
Come see the aliens that want to kill you.
Chris Pratt shows up.
No, I mean, what I'm kind of coming to with this is that she's got one ship with what it's got on it, but sooner or later, whatever resources that it has are going to be taken up by experimentation and blah, blah, blah. So, the only way she knows to get more of the raw materials would be to have another Predator ship land. And, what's better, wait for them to come or have them come to you?
And you can prepare
so
for
she sets up an ambush, say, in some deep forest, deep jungle, somewhere remote. And with this plan of taking the ship from them, but of course, as all plans do, it doesn't go the way it's supposed to. Mm-hmm. And suddenly she's got the tables turned on her this whole time, thinking she's going to be the hunter, and she's once again the hunted.
I like that. I like both of them, actually. They can be your second and third movies. There you go. your spin-offs, and you can do Predator games.
Well,
And-
Star Wars is getting these kind of one-offs and
There you go.
offshoots. Why shouldn't Predator?
Why not? All right. Well, what did you guys think? Did we nail it, or do you think you have a better pitch? If you think you have one, or you just want to tell us your thoughts on the show, email us at remakeThisMovieRight@gmail.com. That's remakeThisMovieRight@gmail.com. We'll read your pitch on the next show. You can review us on iTunes. Please do. Thumbs up on Stitcher, through our RSS feed into your podcast app of choice. Wayne Henderson himself can be found at MediaVoiceovers.com. He also does Packers Fan Podcast. Under the Dome Radio just ended because they just canceled that show. But there's a whole bunch of episodes. If you suffered through that damn show, you can go listen to their great podcast about it. Justin McCumber, where can people find you?
They can find me online at justinmccumber.com or Facebook/justinmccumber.com. Same thing with Twitter.
All right. You got some books out. He's an author, if you weren't aware, so definitely check out his works. You can find a link to all that stuff at his website.
Mm-hmm.
Brian, where can people find you on Twitter?
That's Brian WMS, BrianWMS.
Make sure to hit him up. He likes when people call him names. He likes that a lot. And you can find me at thehollywoodoutsiders.com, as well as The Blacklist Exposed. If you watch that show, you can look for new episodes coming once it comes back on NBC. All right. We do have a Remake This Movie Facebook group, not just for fans of anything, just for people that want to talk about movies and TVs and remakes. There's also a Hollywood Outsider Facebook group. You can join up with either one of those or both if you prefer. The links are in the show notes. You can find our website at RemakeThisMovieRight.com. That's RemakeThisMovieRight.com. Or tweet us at RemakeRight. That's going to do it for this episode of Remake This Movie Right. And remember, the next movie you watch, it will get a remake someday, and only you can make it better. Oh, you know what? As we close out, there's one thing I have to play, because we haven't heard it this entire episode, but I really want to hear it.
The bitch is dug in like an Alabama tick.
You're hit. You're bleeding, man.
I ain't got time to bleed.
Oh.
I love that.